Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to unpack something that's absolutely fundamental to biology, the difference between a gene and a genome. So, let's just dive right in.
I'm sure you've heard that phrase before, right? Genetic blueprint. It's this idea of a master plan that makes you who you are. But what is that plan actually made of? What are the components?
Well, it really all boils down to two key words, gene and genome. And using this awesome illustration as our guide, we're going to decode both of them so the difference becomes totally clear.
All right, let's start small. We're going to begin with the basic building block of it all, the gene.
So what is it really? Simply put, a gene is just a specific chunk of your DNA. The best way to think of it is like a single recipe. Its entire job is to hold the instructions for building one very specific thing, which is usually a protein.
Yeah, this breaks it down perfectly. A gene is a tiny little piece of the DNA puzzle, and it has a very specific task. For example, the gene for insulin. Its only job is to tell your body how to make insulin. Another gene might influence your eye color. And you literally have thousands and thousands of these little instruction sets inside you.
To make this even easier, let's use an analogy that we're going to stick with. Imagine all your genetic information is a giant book, okay? If that's the case, then a single gene is like one sentence, a single instruction. Just remember that. A gene is a sentence.
Okay, so if a gene is just one sentence, what's the big picture? Now we're going to zoom all the way out to look at the complete story, the genome.
See, the genome isn't just a piece of the puzzle. It's the whole puzzle. It's the complete, entire, unabridged set of all the genetic stuff in an organism, every single last bit of it.
And this visual shows that perfectly. The genome, which lives inside the nucleus of your cells, has everything. That includes all those thousands of genes we just talked about, but it also includes all the DNA that's in between the genes. You can think of that other stuff as the punctuation, the page numbers, and the chapter breaks in our book.
Which, of course, brings us right back to our big analogy. We've set the stage. A gene is like one single instructional sentence. So, the really important question is, what does that make the genome?
It makes it the entire book. This right here is the main comparison that's going to make everything click into place.
That's it, exactly. The genome is the whole book of you. It's the complete collection of every single genetic sentence, all bound together in one enormous volume.
So let's put them side by side. The gene is the sentence, one specific instruction. The genome is the book, the entire library of all those instructions, plus all the context. It's pretty simple when you think about it that way. One is just a part, the other is the whole thing. But to really truly appreciate this difference, we have to talk about scale. Because the numbers we're dealing with here are just, well, they're mind-boggling. So, in the book of a human, there are roughly 20 to 25,000 sentences, or genes. That's a lot of instructions, right? But just hold on for a second. Because the entire book, the complete human genome, is written with over 3 billion individual chemical letters. Think about that. 25,000 sentences are built out of more than 3 billion letters. That is the incredible, staggering scale of your genetic blueprint.
So, okay, a sentence versus a book. Why is this so important to get right? Well, it turns out this distinction is at the very heart of modern medicine and all of biology.
This quote from our source really sums it up perfectly. The gene is the specific, functional little piece that gets inherited. The genome is the complete blueprint that holds it all together.
Because we understand this difference, scientists can now read the entire book of life. They can scan the whole genome to find the one single sentence, that specific gene that might have a typo causing a disease. This is what lets us move from just reading the code to hopefully one day being able to correct it. And that really leads us to the final massive question. We now have the power to read this incredibly complex book from cover to cover. So, what's the next chapter? What story are we going to choose to write with all this profound knowledge? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for watching.